Alright, peace, Loran. Welcome. So this is going to be section 4. Section 4. And we're going to be looking into your houses and the rulers. So first things first, right, we're going to talk about your ascendant again, but we're going to dive a little deeper. And so your ascendant is in Leo, right? And so the ascendant signifies personality and one's attitude, but it ultimately just signifies you. Like your sun signifies what you are expressing, but the ascendant signifies you and like the energy you're carrying around with you in this life as you are on your path of ascension and evolution. You feel me? Because that's the whole point. We're here to essentially gestate and develop our souls, right? And that's the whole point of the different experiences that we go through. And so when the sun, not the sun, when the ascendant is in Leo, right, that's the sun energy, right? Because the sun is ruling over your first house. And so first and foremost, what this indicates is that you are a sort of individual who is grandiose in your expression and the energies concerning how you feel about yourself. You feel what I'm saying? You may have a desire to want to be like of great stature, you feel, for lack of a better word. So Leo is a very confident sign, you feel me? They typically tend to have high self-esteem, but like the negative expression of Leo can be like their narcissism energy of overly being indulged within themselves, you feel what I'm saying? But when the ascendant is here, I don't really see that being that much of an issue, because the ascendant, you know, unlike Sun and Leos, the ascendant in Leo, they don't really completely care about being paid attention to, right? They don't go around seeking like validation or anything like that per se. But they do typically tend to receive attention and just validation, things like that, you feel what I'm saying? But it's not really an outward seek, because when the ascendant is in Leo, it's all about learning how to like express oneself, and you're really here to learn who and what you are, but then furthermore express who and what you are. You feel what I'm saying? And I don't even think that saying learn who and what you are is the correct term, because typically it's like these individuals, they kind of come into this life kind of already knowing who they are, you know, and they kind of come into this life with tremendous unique expressions, right? Because they are on a desire to want to express themselves, you know what I'm saying? And with that being said, it's of great importance to understand that the ascendant is the first house, and it's where everything stems from, it's where everything begins. And so Leo is the sign of the self, right? And so with your ascendant being in Leo, it's an indicator that everything begins with you, you know what I'm saying? Like that's where it has to begin, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, you know, pretty much that's like your ascendant in Leo. Just one thing to be attentive and conscientious of is the fact that with this ascendant, you know, I'm telling you, it really signifies and highlights the fact that you are the one who's in control of your life and your life experiences. So it's of great importance that you take initiative and accountability for the fact that if it's to be, it has to be. If it's to be, it's to me. If it's to be, it has to be. You know, I think you get what I'm trying to say. Oh yeah, if it's to be, it's up to me type energy. You know what I'm saying? Because Leo, it rules over the will, right? It's all about willingness, and it's like I will type energy. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, ensure that the way even that you are expressing yourself doesn't per se rub people the wrong way, you know, because I most definitely feel like with this energy, sometimes people may feel like you're just too full of yourself, you know, but it's not even that you're full of yourself, but it's more like Leo ascendants, they kind of go around life expecting the best for themselves, right? They don't want to belittle themselves, but they want to exalt themselves. You feel what I'm saying? Like the sun is exalted in the first house actually, and so we're not talking about the sun per se, but we're talking about Leo, right? And Leo energy is sun energy. And so like with that being said, it is of great importance. You know what's crazy? All of the snakes came out. Oh shoot! You know, right when I come out, all the other snakes, man. But you know, let me be quiet though. But anyways, as I was saying, you know, it's of great importance. It's of great importance to understand that, yeah. So the sun is exalted in the first house. So when Leo is in the first house, there is a great, tremendous desire to want to be expressive and want to be unique in one's expressions even. You know what I'm saying? And my apologies, I kind of got distracted, but I know that I was going somewhere with that statement. And so because of this, right, the first house, you know, it also deals with like one's day-to-day routines. It deals with your health. It deals with your body. You feel me? And so this can even be an indication of being very, very attentive and conscientious that there's only high stature and quality. There's quality concerning your day-to-day routines. You feel what I'm saying? There's quality concerning your health. You feel me? Like health may be something that you bring a tremendous amount of attention to. The way you carry yourself throughout the day may be something you bring great of attention to. And so your ascendant is in Leo, and that would be an indication of your chart ruler being the sun, right? And so like we have your sun in Taurus in the 10th house. You know what I'm saying? So with your sun being in Taurus, it's an indication of like you not being so rumbustious. You know, I'm trying to use all these big words. You robust, right? We'll say for like the other word. So you're not so robust in expression of self, but it's definitely still there because Taurus is more of a reserved, calm, cool, collective sign. You know what I'm saying? And so it may even be an indication of really what it is that you are expressive towards is like your money and your possessions, because you also have so it's your first house, that's Leo, but you also have your second house in Leo. You feel what I'm saying? And so like with your second house being in Leo as well, this indicates that another thing aside from your personality, how you feel, not even how you feel other people are receiving you, because the first house doesn't care about that. It just cares about how it expresses itself. So there's a lot of attention and energy towards how am I carrying myself, how do I look out into this world, how am I being received by others, but not for the sake of others, but for the sake of yourself. You feel me? That's like the first house energy. But then it's like your second house is also in Leo, and the second house is the house that deals with money, you feel what I'm saying, possessions, value, things like that. And so with your second house also being in Leo, it indicates that there's also a lot of attention that goes towards money, right? And of course, naturally, that's gonna happen with your sun being in Taurus in the house, the sign of money. So of course, naturally, that's gonna happen. But yeah, there is a tremendous amount of attention with money. You feel me? Having a desire to have it, and possibly not even being afraid to spend it because you know that you can make more of it. You feel what I'm saying? Because what the sun does is also vitalizes, right? So it's of great importance to understand that there is tremendous vitality and energy when it comes to your potentiality to make money. You feel what I'm saying? And it's like your money ability positions, your money making abilities do depend tremendously on your self-esteem, how you see yourself, how you carry yourself, your self-confidence, and everything like that. You feel what I'm saying? And so with the second house being in Taurus, with the second house being ruled by the 10th house, what I'm trying to say, hold on, this is what I'm trying to say. With your second house being in Leo and your sun being in Taurus in the 10th house, the 10th house is the house of the career, you know, it's the house of like the reputation, right? It's like status type energy. But ultimately we'll just say career, right? So with the first house and the second house being here, it's an indication that you're greatly entangled. Your identity is greatly entangled with your career and with your work and the things that you do and the things that you're known for doing. You feel what I'm saying? And there may also be even a great entanglement concerning your reputation and how you're seen and having a desire to want to be seen that way. You feel what I'm saying? And let's just make sure that the status and the reputation that you have created for yourself. It's not toxic. Is what I'm saying, because if it's toxic, then it's gonna be like kind of an imprisonment type energy. Is what I'm saying, where it's like, because the Leo being in the first house, there's a tremendous desire to want that reputation. Is what I'm saying, and to be seen in a certain way. So it is of importance that you don't allow it to be negative. But you allow your reputation to be something positive and something good. Is what I'm saying. But anyways, we're gonna look into like your second house, which is in your third house, which is in Virgo. I'll be back. Alright, now we're gonna look into your third house. Your third house is in Virgo, right? So before we get into Virgo third house, let's talk about what the third house is. So first and foremost, the third house is the house that deals with communication, if what I'm saying. It's the first house of associations, right? So it also rules over like your siblings, you feel me? It rules over your environment, your immediate environment, but also the environment you had growing up. You know, it's like the way that you can think about the third house is there, you can think about it in conjunction with the 3rd, 7th, and 11th house, in the sense that the third house deals with your first initial experiences with like associating and relating with people. And so that's why it deals with your siblings, because typically your siblings were the first whom you developed your communication style and etc. You feel what I'm saying? But we also have third house also rules like things like school, right? Like K through 12 schools, not like universities and colleges, because that's more Sagittarius. It's more 9th house energy. But yeah, you know, so pretty much communication, how it was that you went about relating with others, also your initial experiences. So the third house is also the house that deals with like neighbors, right? Alright, so let's get into third house in Virgo. So Virgo is a sign, right, that deals with like structure and foundation, right? They're very systemized, and when you think of Virgo, you can think of like very much like, I want to say a noun, a nun, not a noun, a nun. You feel me? Someone, because like Virgo is very much reserved, right? Very much strict, very much dealing with seriousness. So there can be like this strict, reserved type energy when it comes to the way that you communicate, you feel me, with others. And so it's interesting when Virgo is in the third house, because Gemini actually rules this house, you know what I'm saying? And so with Gemini ruling that, with Gemini ruling this house, right? Gemini is the sign that deals with just light communications, you feel me? Not deep analyzed communication, but it more so deals with how it is that you and of yourself how it is that you and of yourself, you know, went about just expressing your thoughts, nothing too serious. But then it's like Virgo, it's deep thoughts, you feel me? It's thoughts that have been analyzed. It's your plans, right? Like how you have assimilated information, and like your deeper ideologies and perceptions on it, because you've done some analyzing on it, you know what I'm saying? And so it can be tough when it's in the third house, because your sense and style of communication may be very direct and very straight up what it is that you have plans and what you want to do. So there may be an energy of not wanting to communicate because you don't do like surface communication. And then it's like you also have Mercury in Taurus, right, which makes you a very which also adds to this earthy energy of practicalness. So, you know, Virgo is a sign that like it doesn't look into the world and just see things, in the sense that a Virgo is not going to look at a chair and just see a chair, you feel me? But they're going to look at a chair and they're going to see like an old chair, a comfortable chair, you feel what I'm saying? A yellow chair, whatever. It has to be detailed orientated, you feel me? So there is this perception on life where it's like it's filled with details, you feel what I'm saying? And the issue with that is that can make life boring and lose its zeal, you feel what I'm saying? Like, because the overanalyzation on your perceptions on life, like that may actually dwindle, your enjoyment of life. So it's actually also important to practice that Piscean energy of, I don't even want to say delusional, but that Piscean energy of just enjoying things and over exaggerating them. Because it's like, the thing is, Virgo is all about the details, right? Going into the details. So it's like when you go into the details of something, then what tends to happen is that you lose the bigger picture. You feel me? And a lot of the times, because you know that the devil's in the pictures, a lot of the times when you walk through life and your way of mind and your way of thinking and processing information is bent towards details, then it's like life can just be depressing. Because, like I said, you know, the devil's in the details type energy. So it's of great importance to just to enjoy things for what they are without breaking them down and analyzing them, right? But yeah, I would say that pretty much is like your third house energy, your third house energy. Now we're gonna look into your fourth house, and your fourth house is going to be in the sign Virgo, Libra. So then your fourth house is going to be in the sign Libra. But I'm just gonna double check before I'm saying to ensure that I'm correct. But anyways, with your fourth house being in the sign Libra, it's an indication that your fourth house ruler is Venus, right? And Venus is the planet that deals with harmony and balance and peace and joy. You feel what I'm saying? And just communal functionings. So with Venus being ruler over your fourth house, it indicates this sense of like harmony, you feel me, that may have been promoted in the home life while you were growing up. But furthermore, just in general, an energy of harmony and balance and peace that you enjoy to keep. I'm looking at your chart right now. And yeah, it is Libra. Yeah, you know, so it may be energies that you enjoy to upkeep within the home, you know what I'm saying? And this really just expands on like what I talked about with your Jupiter being in the fourth house in Scorpio. You know, it's very benevolent energy, very harmonious energy. You may enjoy relatives and family members coming to your home, you know, like it's very because Libra is a sign that deals with socializing, that is, you feel me, connecting with others and everything like that. So yeah, you know, yeah. But anyways, with Libra in the fourth house, the home life in of itself may be highly it may be highly intertwined with peace. Like it may be the place which you get peace and harmony and balance from, you know what I'm saying? Maybe the place where you can truly rejuvenate and recuperate, you know what I'm saying, with the fourth house being in Libra. So it is of importance, right, to ensure that you have a beautiful home, right, with Libra being here. And it's not even an insured thing, but it's there is a high likeliness that you like to keep your home beautiful, you feel me, balanced, feng shui, you know what I'm saying? And you should probably look into feng shui and what that is, you know, the science of how energy flows in spaces, you know what I'm saying? So then Venus rules over your fourth house, and we have Venus in the eighth house, right? Venus in Pisces in the eighth house. With Venus being in Pisces in the eighth house, this can even be an indication of like possibly having encountered psychic phenomena within your home, you feel me? It's Pisces, right? It's the sign that deals with psychic energies, spiritual energies, spiritual entities. But then the eighth house, it's a haunted house, you know what I'm saying? It's Scorpio's house, and as you know, Scorpio is Halloween season, you feel me? So very haunted. But anyway, so the advice I would give though is like ensuring that around your house you have spiritual symbolic things, you know what I'm saying? Like get crystals, you know what I'm saying? Learn about how to build crystal grids, you know what I'm saying? And learn how to work with sage and Palo Santos, you know what I'm saying? But it's like with your Venus being in the eighth house, you do need to tap into not just cleaning your house, but ridding your house of negative energies. You know what I'm saying? With Venus ruling over your fourth house in the sign Libra. So ultimately, Libra is the sign that's the scales, right? We know Libra to be the scales. It's all about balance, right? It's all about finding equilibrium. And so what's of importance with the fourth house here is that you find some sort of equilibrium, you know what I'm saying, within your home, and balance within your home, you know what I'm saying. And with it being Pisces, I feel like this is balancing the spiritual and the physical in your home life, you know what I'm saying. But yeah, I would say that pretty much concludes like your fourth house, your third house, and your fourth house. Now I'll be coming at you with your fifth house and your sixth house. And then I might be cutting it short because I might not, but I might. You know, there's a possibility of me cutting it short because it is a lot of information. You feel what I'm saying, that I'm gonna be expressing in this reading. So I think I might cut this short, and we'll do another session. And I hope that that's good with you. You feel me? I don't see why that would be an issue. But yeah, so I'll be back. All right, peace. Alright, now let's look at your fifth house and your sixth house. So the fifth house, right? The fifth house is a house of creation, right? It signifies one's creative abilities. That's actually naturally ruled by the sign Leo. You feel what I'm saying? And so it's the house that deals with speculation also. It deals with entertainment. It deals with one's sexual life, one's sexual energies and abilities. And I already said entertainment, but yeah, it deals with the things that entertain you, and that includes like your hobbies that you enjoy. You feel what I'm saying? And so you have your ascendant, your fifth house in the sign Sagittarius. And so Sagittarius is a very philosophical sign, right? It's very inclined towards the outdoors. So with your fifth house being in Sagittarius, first and foremost, you may find yourself receiving a tremendous amount of like entertainment and pleasure from tapping into philosophical energies. You feel what I'm saying? From tapping into broader views of perspectives. Now, of course, Sagittarius is also the sign that deals with travel, right? So traveling may be one of those things that it may be one of those things that you tremendously enjoy doing, and you may be a regular traveler in the sense that it's just one of those things that you find great joy and entertainment in. Now, we also have to talk about Jupiter, because Jupiter rules over Sagittarius, and so you have Jupiter and Scorpio in the fifth house. So what this indicates is that like there is also an underlying deeper tone to your philosophical expression, because you know the fifth house is also the house of expression, like your philosophy and how you express your philosophy, but also how you express your creativity. Like with Jupiter being in the sign of repression, Scorpio, it can be an indication that even though of course you have like your Leo in the fifth house, my bad, not Leo in the fifth house, Leo is your ascendant. I mean, we already talked about how even though you have Leo in your ascendant, because you have that Sun in Taurus, you may not be outwardly rambunctious about your expressiveness, but it's more of a cool, calm, radiating type energy that people can feel, but they may not be overwhelmed with. But it's like with the fifth house being ruled over by Jupiter in the sign of Scorpio, there may be an indication of, yeah, like doing that shadow work and everything like that. It's of great importance to understand that. And doing the shadow work, one thing that's going to be released is your creative abilities, your creative energy. You know, but I also feel like simultaneously, this right here can also be read as like, the more you dive into creative energies, the more you dive into creative energies, the more shadow work in turn you will produce. And so the fifth house, as I said, is the house of creativity. And so the sign which the house is in signifies how your creative energies express themselves. And so with the fifth house being in Sagittarius, it's an indication of having an ability, in a sense, to merge like philosophy and creative energies together. You know, so this can be like, maybe let's say you like to draw, right? And so this can be like you drawing, and you drawing with a lot of religious symbols and esoteric symbols. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. So, but anyways, so yeah, that's pretty cool. You know, it's really cool. It's really cool. But then at the same time, so we already talked about traveling, and I think so. The fifth house is a house that deals with sexuality, right? And it deals with romance in general. It also deals with offsprings and things like that. And so, like, okay, so the fifth house is in Sagittarius. So Sagittarius is a very like spontaneous energy, a spontaneous sign. You feel what I'm saying? And Sagittarius greatly values its freedom. You know, they love their freedom, and they love to be free. And so, with that being said, there is a possibility of like not, because you know, I remember in like one of our sessions I talked about children, and you gave me feedback on how you don't think you'll ever have children. But like looking at the fifth house being in Sagittarius, it may be an indication of not ready to have children yet, because of like the freedom restriction it may impose. You feel me? Like that's one thing you truly value and enjoy: your freedom, your freedom to, you know, enjoy yourself ultimately. And your freedom to enjoy yourself, as I've seen in your other parts of the chart, it may be overly done and overly indulgent, and that may be an imbalance that you may need to learn to balance. Like not overly getting into, like, not indulging into the things you like to do, you feel me, but learning to do things in moderation. You feel what I'm saying? But I would say that's pretty much like the fifth house in Sagittarius, right? Philosophy, education of higher natures may just in general be entertaining to you, or you may find great joy in it. But now I'm gonna look at your sixth house, which is in Capricorn. Alright, so most definitely, now we're going to talk about your sixth house. So your sixth house is in Capricorn, right? And so with your sixth house being in Capricorn, that indicates that Saturn is your chart ruler. My bad, your sixth house ruler. So the sixth house is the house of work, right? It deals with labor. It deals with the work environment. It also deals with your day-to-day routines. And ultimately, it's the house of health as well. And so, unfortunately, though, Saturn is the planet of illness and dis-ease. So there may be an indication with you having Saturn over your fifth house, over your sixth house, the house of health, that your health may be one of those things that you may have had to bring a lot of attention and focus to, or you just may have manifested with not the best or greatest health. So, like, what I'm trying to say is that with Capricorn being the sixth house, and but then I do forget that Saturn is exalted, so you do have a pretty powerful Saturn in your chart. So it may be even an indication of just health being something that you pay attention to, and maybe in the past you struggled with health, but then you found equilibrium and balance. You feel what I'm saying? And so with Saturn being in your third house in the sign Libra, this indicates that your work environment and situation also may deal with telemarketing, you feel me, or some form of communication, some sort of like teleportation, transportation, I meant to say. I'm like, teleportation, it sounds similar, you know, transportation, you know, it may be an indication of like the work you're engaged is transportation. But like the sixth house, this indicates that the work that sixth house in Capricorn indicates that the work that you do, it's very serious and you take it very serious, and there may be a need for you to be diplomatic, a need for you to not engage emotionally, but more so just in logic, you know, and operate from a place of logic and structure. And so it's also an indication of when you work, there may be a commitment, you feel me, or also there may be a laboriousness about it. And I feel like a laboriousness about it in the sense of like workaholicism. I feel like, just that it may be something that is like difficult. And that may involve like system and needing to be persistent and consistent and deal with time. You feel what I'm saying? And so honestly, what I'm trying to say is with your sixth house being in Capricorn, it's best for you to align with work that asks of you to be practical and asks of you to understand that in time you will progress. You feel what I'm saying? But like with Capricorns, these energies, these are like, they can also be like managers, you know, and people who don't so much work for someone, but they may be working with someone. You feel me? Not so much work for someone, but maybe be working with someone, or even working for themselves is even a possibility with, you know. And then you do have like your sun in the 10th house, so working for yourself is a possibility, most definitely. But yeah, you know, with Capricorn being in your 6th house, it's important to be systemized with your work, to be disciplined with your work. You feel what I'm saying? To have a structure. But also it's important to balance that work life and health life, work life and family life, right? So work life and self life, really. Making sure that your work doesn't become so heavy, because with the 6th house in Capricorn, it can be an indication that your job involves a lot of responsibilities, and you may be responsible for a lot of things with your job and your work. You feel what I'm saying? So just make sure that like the responsibilities of your job aren't suffocating you. You feel me? They're not so heavy that you and of yourself can't really move outside of work. You feel what I'm saying? But yeah, you know, I would say like that pretty much concludes this session. Yeah, we'll definitely do the next session, and that will conclude the birth chart reading. And then if you're interested, we can talk about other mentorship programs that I offer. You know, I'd definitely love to help you tap into esoteric psychology, you feel me, and learn about alchemy as well, and equip you with those tools that will assist you in sharpening your mind. You feel what I'm saying? Building your mind, etc. But anyways, peace. I really do hope that you enjoyed this. Honestly, the last reading I did, I kind of felt like, I don't know how you're gonna take it, but you took it so well. So I'm optimistic that this is gonna be a good reading too. Alright, peace. Alright, so now we're gonna talk about your 7th house. You feel what I'm saying? Your 7th house. So I decided that actually I can just do all of the houses in this session. You feel me? It's not as deep as I thought it would be. But yeah, you know, at the end, if you want to like send me a tip or something, I'd be more than open to receiving a tip. But anyways, so 7th house, right? So your 7th house is in the sign Aquarius. And so Aquarius, you should know, is the least personal air signs. You know, it doesn't really deal with people like that, you know. But it's crazy because the 7th house is the house of intimate relationships. So with your 7th house being in Aquarius, this can play out in an energy where it's like when you are in partnerships with other people, right? You may find yourself doing things with them and all that other good stuff, that surface level, oh, we're together energy, but you may not find it common for you to have genuine, true connections with people. You feel me? With the 7th house in Aquarius, there can be an energy of being amongst a plethora of people, or even being amongst your partner, but feeling like you're alone type energy. You feel what I'm saying? Aquarius is, with your 7th house being Aquarius, you may feel like romantically, and when it comes to relationships, that your partners can't really give you that intimate, deep understanding and knowing that you crave and that you want. You feel what I'm saying? Now, fortunately, Aquarius, not Aquarius, Saturn is your chart ruler, and there isn't really much fortunate about that, except for the fact that with Saturn being in Libra, it's an indication that in time you will eventually meet your partner. You feel me? Your lover. And dare I say, or you'll die trying. You feel what I'm saying? Dare I even say that? I wouldn't want to speak that out. But the point of the energy here is there is this continuous energy of wanting partnership and relationship. You feel me? But it's like Saturn is a karmic house, so there may even be an energy of karma. You feel me? That may play out. And so the 7th house, right, as I said, deals with relationships. And the interesting thing about Aquarius is it's very untraditional. You feel what I'm saying? So maybe the relationships you and of yourself have gotten into maybe have been untraditional, or I feel like this can even explain like your intimate craving for like wanting to be with someone who is married, like someone who you can't have. Because Aquarius is also a sign of rebellion, right? So in love and in your partnerships, you may be rebellious, but I'll tell you this much. Um, and this can be against your partner or rebellious against something else, you feel what I'm saying? But also with Aquarius being here, I did already mention that there is like an inability to truly genuinely connect with other people like that. And so that may be one thing. I don't know if I talked about this enough or even previously, but like you should definitely look into developing your skills with like specifically connecting with people at an intimate level. You feel me? Learning how to treat a man, even, not saying that you don't know how to, but more so like from an emotional standpoint of like opening yourself up, and being vulnerable and allowing yourself to feel emotions. You feel what I'm saying? And be emotionally attached and connected. Because with Aquarius here, it can even be an energy of like kind of just going through the motions in love and not really having any emotional investment in your love partner. You feel what I'm saying? But yeah, I would say that's pretty much like that energy. And then with like Libra in the third house, it's an indication. It's an indicator that one thing that affects relationships negatively is communication, an inability to communicate, possibly. You feel what I'm saying? And it's like you may also want to ensure that you prioritize compatibility when you're getting into partnerships and love interests. That you ensure that it's not just something that you want, because Aquarius, Saturn in general, the sign ruled by Aquarius. My bad. Aquarius, the sign ruled by Saturn. It can be selfish sometimes in its expression. You feel me? And kind of just go after something because it wants it. And it may not be so engaging in the whole bigger picture of what do they want, but what I want, and that's just Saturn energy. Like Aquarius is actually a sign that's very selfless, right? And that selfless energy, for instance, it can play out as like you feeling like those people that your partners, like they already know who you are, and so you may feel like you don't have to give yourself to them, but then to a stranger you may extend yourself tremendously and be also nice. I feel like that's a possibility in which it can even play out. But yeah, anyways, let's now look into the 8th house. You feel what I'm saying? So your 8th house is in Pisces. With your 8th house being in Pisces, right? The 8th house is the house that deals with death. It deals with sex. Also, it deals with like inheritances. It deals with legalities. You feel what I'm saying? Legalities. Ultimately, this is a house that deals with death, and also deals with like trauma. You feel me? It's a very traumatized house, and it deals with and so wait, I will talk about the trauma. And so ultimately, seeing this here, it's an indication of like, for starters, the trauma that you may find yourself experiencing, it may not holistically all just be your trauma. You feel me? But it may be trauma that you are experiencing because it's like a family curse. I don't like to use the word curse because you're only cursed once you accept a curse. Like no one can really curse you without your acceptance of the curse. So I don't really like to use that term curse. But you know how they say like karma passes in family lineage. So I feel like that may be one of those things of like it running through the family, and then like if you through this reading even become conscious and aware of it by doing your shadow work and everything like that, then healing it. And I feel like the 8th house in Pisces may also point towards a needing to heal like one's heart. You feel what I'm saying? Because of not Leo or Aquarius, but Pisces, because Pisces is a sign that deals with universal love and deals with being selfless. You feel what I'm saying? And I feel like there may even be a needing of like balancing your energies when it comes to your feeling of just truly being yourself, Alright, and I say this from the perspective of like Pisces deals with like connecting with everything. So being comfortable enough to be yourself when idealizing or thinking of, not even idealizing, but like thinking of how you're connected with everything. You feel me? I feel like there can even be healing here needing to be done with isolation, feeling like you're alone, and in actuality needing to bring it back to yourself again. But ultimately, this eighth house energy also indicates that healing of an emotional kind most definitely needs to take place. You feel what I'm saying? And like, the eighth house is a sexual house, Pisces is a house of healing. So it can even be an indication of needing to heal and release, you know, certain sexual energies, certain sexual traumas you might have had. You feel what I'm saying? But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, like I feel like with the eighth house Pisces, there can even be an energy of victimization, victimization in a manner where it's like there can even be a possibility of those who are supposed to love and take care of you, in actuality being manipulative and wanting to control you and all that type of other energy, and all that type of other energy. You feel what I'm saying? But yeah, you know, so that's pretty much like that energy. Now let's look into your ninth and 10th house. Oh wow, so I should have paid a little more attention because your 8th house is not in Pisces. Your 8th house is actually in Aquarius. It's ruled by the sign Aquarius. But that probably, everything I was saying earlier might have resonated with you because you have your moon in the 8th house, you know. But like, so in actuality, with you having your 8th house in Aquarius, this can be an indication of when it comes to seeing yourself as a unique individual, and being able to see yourself outside of the crowd, you know, like that may be where healing may need to take place, healing your unique and original energies. You feel what I'm saying? And like the 8th house is a very secretive house as well. It can also be an indicator that like how do I put this, an importance on not importance, but the fact that there is a tremendous amount of information that you have access to that one way or another for some reason is like suppressed. You feel me? That you keep behind the scenes, you know. And it can even also be an indicator of like in going out into the field and just working with strangers and random people, there may sometimes be like this animosity or like hate type energy towards you, whereas like people just may be like just random strangers that may not know you, possibly, you know, may grow a hate for you. And this is because, you know, the 8th house, like I said earlier, it does deal with like open enemies, you know. I don't know if I said that, but it deals with open enemies. Yeah, it deals with open enemies and everything like that. But we're gonna talk about the 9th and the 8th house here because your 9th house is actually in Aquarius, you know. But I wasn't completely off because the majority of your 8th house is in Pisces, so you probably resonated with that energy, with that reading. But anyways, so yeah, you have your 9th house in Aquarius. With your 9th house being Aquarius, it's an indication of like maybe because the 9th house is the house of the your philosophical standpoint on reality. This is like your religious energies, how you are influenced to perceive world, you know, to perceive the world. And so Aquarius is the energy of collective consciousness, you know. It's like what society is involved in and engaged in. So there may be this energy of like your primary outlook on life, you know, may have been okay. Because let me tell you this also, Aquarius is ruled by Saturn, Uranus, and Jupiter. You feel me? And under those rulerships, it expresses differently, but its default rulership is Saturn. You know, Aquarius's default rulership is Saturn, and Saturn is the planet of conformity. Saturn is the planet that deals with government. It deals with reality. It deals with other authorities. So on the lower octave, you know, it may have been that you may have just kind of went along, you feel what I'm saying, with what everyone believed, and not so much questioned this, the third or the fourth, but kind of operated with the hive mind type energy, you feel what I'm saying. But of course, Aquarius also indicates that, but one thing that you always have held to great importance philosophically is freedom, you know, the need to be free. But also, yeah, I'll leave it at that. But it's interesting though, yeah, the need to be free. And it was like, as long as, like, I feel like what I'm trying to say is freedom may have been one of those, is not been, but is one of those principles that you truly uphold, you know, and it's something that you desire to be free. And probably in life, you may feel like everyone deserves to be free and everyone deserves to be a unique expression of themselves, more so because it's what Aquarius is all about, you feel what I'm saying. But like ultimately though, what I was explaining and breaking down earlier about the collective energy, that's a little bit more Aquarius, but it's also an indication of like information being power when it comes to your philosophy and perception. And it's like, the more information you can accumulate, the more you'll start to change and rearrange your perception. And Aquarius, like I said, deals with man, right? Humans, and people. So interacting and engaging with people and receiving their different perceptions and perspectives may also be another way in which you expand your philosophy and your perception on life. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah, you know. So, anyways, like that's the first rulership, right? Saturn. And Aquarius. When Aquarius is ruled by Saturn, it's kind of conformity and confinement, restrictions. So, possibly growing up, you may have had more of a narrow, restricted perception on reality. But then Uranus is like the planet of rebellion, you know. And so later on, you may have rebelled against everything. Like once you get into that Aquarius energy, I mean that Saturn energy, it's like there's no in between. It's like you it's not half-assedly being in it and not in it, but it's like starting to rebel and starting to educate and teach yourself, you know, because it is about education most definitely, and starting to learn the truth and being like, yo, I've been told a lie, or whatever it may be, whatever the case may be, you know. And then Jupiter is like when you have gone through the rebellion phase and the changeable phase, and all of a sudden now you're like a guru and you've gone through life and you've had experiences and you accumulated knowledge, you applied knowledge, and then you acquired wisdom. You know, I feel like it's the Jupiter aspect of them, because Jupiter is the planet of wisdom, keep in mind. But anyways, now let's look into your 10th house. Yeah, your 10th house. So your 10th house is in Aries. 10th house is in Aries. So with your 10th house being in Aries, it's an indication of like your career having to be very solo dolo and isolated. You feel what I'm saying? Like whatever that it is you do, like even if like you work for someone, you may be like a contractor, you know, you may be contracted to do that work. But yeah, with Aries being here, that's what I feel like it would indicate, that there's this great sense of like, even maybe like with the work you do, like there may be a sense of like danger about it, or yeah, like, how do I put this? So Aries is the ram, you know. Aries is the ram, right? And it can be reckless, you know. And so with Aries being here though, because it's also the sign of the self, so it's like you may be known in your career primarily for who and what you are, like the I am, like what you represent. And it's interesting because it's the same thing, because your sun is also in the 10th house, so it's like your career most definitely is gonna have to deal a lot with who you are. You feel what I'm saying? And with your 10th house being here also, you may go on to have a reputation and be recognized for being like independent, right? And maybe the career that you do, it may have to deal with some sort of independence. Um, yeah, I think, yeah, I think that may be it. Yeah, but let me look at also your Mars though, because that'll give us more insight. So your Mars is in Libra. So like with your Mars being in Libra, it can even be an indication of like you maybe being like a social worker. And maybe that's why it may be dangerous, because maybe you may be dealing with domestic issues, or you're helping people. Um, yeah. Um, Yeah, I'm not too sure about this placement, and I think it's because I'm trying to say more than I can about it. Because it's like where Aries goes, it's pretty simple. It's a sign that deals with independence. It deals with the individual, and it deals with kind of what you want to do. So your career, it may even have that freedom of like expressing yourself and being original and unique with the thing that you do. You feel what I'm saying? But ultimately, like with the 10th house in Aquarius, my bad, with the 10th house in Aries, it's an indication of like entrepreneurship energy. You feel me? Like being an entrepreneur and things like that. But I would say, yeah, that's pretty much it. Like you also have your Sun in the 10th house and your Mercury in the 10th house. So your career most definitely does engage your mind and your thoughts, and it asks of you to communicate and articulate. So this can be, like I said earlier, telemarketing, or it can even just be like simply writing, even something that has to do with work with the language. And then the Sun is also in the 10th house, so it's very self-driven. You're probably like the soul of your career, like the source of your career. And so I'm convinced that you're probably an entrepreneur, business owner of some sort, maybe. But yeah, so now let's look into like your 11th and your 12th house. Okay, so your 11th house is in Gemini. So with your 11th house being in the sign Gemini, it's an indication that you may be a chatty Betty. Like you may like to chat a lot in conversation, socialize, and engage with people, right? Because the 11th house is the house that deals with networks, friendships. It also deals with hopes and dreams. With the hopes and dreams aspect, Gemini is a very fluctuative sign, and it can be an indication of you possibly having dreams and hopes, but not sticking to them. But then with the Gemini energy, it can also say the same thing with your friends, like possibly having a plethora of friends, a plethora of acquaintances, but possibly just more so prioritizing your own self, your own thoughts, and your own alone time. And so, like, of course, enjoying friends, but even in enjoying friends, it may be for a selfish reason. When you're socializing, that's a possibility, but it doesn't have to be like that. But ultimately with the Gemini energy, it's like just socializing because you enjoy communication, because you enjoy like the stimulation that it brings, you feel what I'm saying, to your mind and everything like that. But yeah, so that's like the Gemini energy. And then so I know that you have your Gemini in the 10th house, so that indicates that a lot of your friends, associates, are work related, you feel me? And that's primarily the space in which you're gonna find connections and friendships, right? Work related things. And then you also have Aquarius, and so Aquarius ruling over your 7th house, and Aquarius being in ruled by Saturn in the 3rd house. So with your 7th house ruler being in the 3rd house, it's an indication of like when seeking partnership and things like that, to engage in your environment, you feel me, your immediate environment, maybe even going to like a cafe or something like that. Or I think and you know what, I'll leave it at that. Yeah. But then it's like with Gemini being in the 10th house, it's an indication of like friends being of friends, how do I put this, friends being heavily work related, one way or another, work associated, one way or another. You enjoy friends who are intellectuals, right? Friends who can mentally stimulate you. If someone is boring and they're not intelligent in of themselves, you may not want to be their friend. But yeah, most definitely. And there may even be a sense of luck, like getting lucky with friends, possibly. Like finding and attracting good friends, you know. Yeah, that's even a possibility. Yeah, okay. And now we can look into. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for your 11th house in Gemini, you know. 11th house in Gemini also may be an indication of you being like a social butterfly, like not completely liking to stick to one circle of friends, but maybe enjoying to dibble and dabble into different friendships and connectionships, you know. But yes, that's pretty much that energy. Now let's look at the 12th house. So you have your 12th house in the sign Cancer, and that would mean it's ruled by. That would mean the 12th house is ruled by the moon. 12th house is the house that deals with like psychic influences. It's like the spiritual realm, you feel me? It's all these different energies. But ultimately just spiritual realm. Because it's the 12th house, right? And it's like the last thing that stands is like the spirit, you feel what I'm saying? So that's why it's associated with the spiritual realm and all these other things. And so with your 12th house being in the sign Cancer, it's an indication of like needing to learn to tap into like your spiritual heritage, right? Like for example, tapping in with me and realizing that I'm Egyptian, and then thinking or having a feeling like, oh, maybe because I most definitely do think that we have past life connections, but it's like ultimately, like, yeah, tapping into that energy and understanding your ancestors, you feel me? And not just your ancestors, but like your spiritual predecessors. So, you know, those spirits associated with you. Because it's like certain ancestors that we have never really existed in the physical realm, you feel what I'm saying? They may have just existed in the spiritual realm. But yeah, you know, so with your moon also ruling over your 12th house and the sign Pisces, it's an indication of tremendous spiritual abilities and spiritual energies. You feel what I'm saying? And like if you were to align yourself with some program that would help you in developing your psychic abilities, you'd be a natural at it. You feel what I'm saying? But also like when it comes to the spirit world, before you can truly dabble and dip into it, you have to learn how to heal your traumas, you know, and how to cleanse your like emotions, you know, because it's in your moon is in the 8th house. I'm yawning a lot today. Yeah. The house is pretty much it, you know. And I do feel like you do have a potent like ancestry, spiritually speaking, and they're waiting for you to tap into them or tap in with them. You know what I'm saying? I think I've said that already a couple times. I've seen it in a couple of your places in your chart. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so most definitely. But yeah, I would say, you know, that pretty much concludes this birth chart reading. You know, I definitely do look forward to your feedback and what you think. And if you'd like me to dive into anything, then I can look into it for you, you know. But alright, peace. And yeah, we'll talk about what more I can do for you if you're interested in working more with me. But anyways, peace. I hope you enjoyed this reading.